What's up, Comicbook.com? Brandon Davis here. I'm here with Ant-Man director Peyton Reed, the genius behind the size, all of it. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit. Let's dive in and talk Ant-Man. What do you think?
I'd love to. Let's do it.
Scott, I need you to be the Ant-Man.
First of all, I love the movie.
Oh, thanks
really
very much.
Love it, and I can't wait to see how people react to it.
Excellent.
Do you feel a little bit of pressure doing a Marvel movie?
I think I feel a little pressured every time I make a movie. It's just sort of, making movies are just pressure cookers by design. This one is definitely a bigger movie than I've done in terms of all the visual effects and stuff. I think there's almost 1,600 visual effects shots in the movie. And this is the type of movie I've always wanted to make. And to be able to do it and to be able to do it at Marvel was it was a thrill, man.
Sure, yeah. Now, this is a little bit different from any movie you've done before. A little bit different.
Yeah.
Superheroes, effects, it's crazy. I mean, you did a great job, but what brought you into it? What drew you into this script or this job?
Well, I was a kid who grew up reading Marvel comics. When I got the call from Kevin Feige and Marvel, I could come in and talk about Hank Pym and Scott Lang, and I could converse about Ant-Man and what I loved about the character, and if I were going to be directing the movie, what I would like to see in the movie, and I had very specific ideas about it. And what I liked about it, it was an origin story. I'd known this character in the comics realm for years and years and years, so to be able to be the guy to bring him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a thrill. I also liked that it was a really different kind of Marvel movie. It was sort of a smaller, no pun intended, but like a more intimate movie, about fathers and their daughters, and that the hero, Scott Lang, his biggest goal in the movie is to be a part of his daughter's life. I thought that was cool and different.
Yeah, it definitely was. It felt more grounded, even though you're still doing these fantastical things, and even if you explain them with some sort of science, they're still superheroes. Their imagination, but it's the family aspect keeps it very grounded.
Yeah.
Now, through the family aspects, I mean, with Hank Pym and Hope and Janet, and then also with Scott and his family and everything, it seems like there were seeds planted for both possibilities of a sequel or even a prequel. Now, would you be interested in doing either of those?
Listen, if we were lucky enough to be able to do a sequel or a prequel, I'd be way into it. I really kind of fallen in love with these characters. I was always in love with the characters in the comic book world, but, there's a lot of story to tell with Hank Pym. Scott Lang has really sort of just first become Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And the big question is, well, what's next for that guy? And we already know he's going to show up in Captain America Civil War, which is really exciting.
Whose side is he on?
Okay, you're not going to get it out of me.
Now, you had an Avenger in this movie. It's
yes.
By the time we're allowed to tell everybody this, the movie will be out. But you did have an Avenger in there. What was it that made you pick to be the character that Ant-Man encounters?
Well, that was actually something that Adam McKay, who came in and wrote several drafts of the script with Paul Rudd, that was McKay's idea. We talked about the fact that Ant-Man's a heist movie. And one of the sort of tropes in a heist movie is before the big heist, it's like, okay, we've got the plan in place, but there's this one extra thing that we got to do and we got to get, before the heist can be pulled off. And in this case, there's a particular item that Pym needs. And he sends Scott sort of into this situation way before Scott is probably trained enough to deal with it. And he encounters a certain Avenger. And we love the idea. Like when Adam pitched that idea to me, it was like the kid in me came alive, because that's what I loved in the comics, when you have one hero and another hero, and for whatever reason they're pitted against each other. And it's like, okay, how's that character's power is going to stack up against this one?
Yeah,
let me see it. And there's such a wish fulfillment quality to that. So I was psyched to have that as part of the movie.
Absolutely. And now, of all these characters, do you have a character that would be like a dream come true for you to get your hands on beyond Ant-Man? Is there a Marvel or DC or anything that you just really would love, you grew up loving, or anything like that?
Well, I grew up, a total Marvel kid. I was obsessed. I knew that comics came out on Tuesdays and on Fridays, and I would have my dad drive me to the newsstand and pick all my titles. And, as most kids who were my age, like, I grew up loving Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, Avengers, all of them. And we're now in a world where, like, technologically, you can really vividly present these characters and their powers. And in the case of the Marvel movies, it attracts A-list talent, and we were able to tell these stories on such a grand palette. And there's so many characters that I was a fan of, but I have to say, Ant-Man early on, he was one that I loved. I liked that he sort of, particularly when he was in the Avengers, he had a little bit of an inferiority complex because he's fighting next to Thor and Hulk, and you know, it's fun in terms of the movie to have Paul Rudd play that, and sort of he has this underdog feel to him, as he's not quite comfortable being a hero yet.
So do you have a favorite superhero or superhero movie? Until tonight when Ant-Man becomes
It would be a bad time to mention that I'm a huge Batman fan,
Well,
but I'm a huge
won't tell
Paul
anybody.
Rudd fan. And I love him as a friend and as a human being.